It is so much fun to put on plays, especially with this class. We've been working very hard for the last few weeks, and we are ready to share our story. Our story takes place during the time of Emperor Nero's reign. This is about, I know, you'll find out later. This is approximately the year 60 AD. Not that long ago. And if you know anything about Roman history, you would know that Emperor Nero's reign was, quite interesting. I'm not sure it was that pleasant, maybe for some people, but for other people it was not very pleasant, because Nero was a rather vicious tyrant who was known for very cruel punishments, perhaps death by lions. He was also known for having very lavish parties, rather extravagant emperor. Now, during this time in Roman history, and under Emperor Nero's rule, as he is ruling the mightiest empire in the world, there also happens to be something very interesting happening in what today we would call the Middle East. Maybe spiritual fervor. It is, after all, the time of the birth of Christianity. These are very interesting times, the times of ancient Emperor Nero, the time of Roma, and if you spell that the other way, Amor. So in these two polarities, something happens. People live. People have lives. People have ambitions. People have dreams. People have fallen in love. People want adventure. People want a home. Maybe it's not that hard for us to imagine such a situation. Religious upheaval in the Middle East. Mighty military powers, tyrannical powers. People still have ambitions. And people still have their dreams. Our story is filled with characters living in that time, and there's a lot going on for them, a lot. You're going to see some of this. I need to explain a couple of characters in our play. In our play, there is a character named Lucia, and Lucia is a Roman maiden, and she finds this life to be rather dull, and would rather live the life of a Roman soldier, whose life she believes is very adventurous. Now, in this play, she finds a way to join the Roman army, even though it's quite forbidden for women to be in the Roman army. In our play, when Lucia is a lady, she would be played by Livia. When Lucia is disguised as a Roman soldier, he will be played by Nani. Enjoy our show.
Pernicus! 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 Oh, where can that good for nothing be? This happens every time. Pernicus! It already grows dark, and still that servant does not appear. Oh, my legs! Oh, my lady Lucia! Pernicus, you're injured. You poor thing. Oh, whatever happened?
As you instructed, I went to the fort to learn if your brother's legion was to return to Rome tonight.
What did you learn?
I grew so excited at the news that I had to run back and tell you.
Tell me what is the news?
In my haste, I tripped and fell on the Via Puglia. I lay in great pain for some time. I thought I might have bruised my patella.
But what did you learn? Has my brother arrived?
My lady Lucia. So great was the shock of my fall that, why, I've completely forgotten the news that I've learned.
If one shock made you forget, then surely a second shock will help you remember. You slothful, foolish, incompetent.
Oh! My lady Lucia, Do not squander your precious space on this unworthy head.
Your life has filled wrath.
Necessity is the brother of intended. Help! Soldiers of Rome, come to aid!
Doo-doo-doo-doo. That is the flourish of Marius' legion. He has arrived. Beloved sister. Beloved brother.
Oh! My eardrums are too sensitive to absorb such loud sounds. So now I have a headache to add to my troubles. I must take to my bed.
Later that evening. Although it grows late, I know I could stay all night to listen to your stories of the wars of God. Oh, Marius, being a Roman is so dull. I can't hear enough of your stirring tales of battle and battle. But we must retire soon. There will be months stretching before it's time enough for you to finish your telling. Not months, dear sister, only days. What do you mean only days? Our legion has returned to Rome only so that our armor may be repaired, new weapons forged, and new soldiers recruited. I've been promoted to the rank of princeps, and my commander and I in 3 days will embark for Jerusalem. Who is your new commander? Saulus, son of Vespasian is my primus paulus. Do you remember from my school days? He was but a few years my senior, and would often visit after school was. But, Lucia, you are blushing. Ah, now I recall. You have always had a place in your heart for Saulus, didn't you? No less a place in yours for his cousin, the Eusebius Pericia. Have you heard of her lately? Not since the Lupercal she spurned my proposal. But enough of her. Saulus, whom you do so admire, said to be the finest commander in the Roman army. Indeed, I am told to serve as his princeps is a dream of many young Roman officers. And I know I should be bursting with enthusiasm for my new post. And yet, I grow weary of a legionnaires' life. You grow weary of a legionnaires' life? Think of what it would be like in Judea, my sister, from morning until evening, shouting out commands to mindless soldiers, forming those slack bodies into unified force of pointed power, one will, one goal, endlessly tramping and tramping and tramping, leagues of desert wilderness, sand blowing in your burning eyes, sand choking up your dry and parched mouth, defying the sun, subduing the sands, until at last an oasis appears, swaying palms that drip down dates, cool water gushing forth from a spring. Marching and marching and marching the crooked streets of Jerusalem, surrounded by barbarian rabbles, holding your nose against their stench, closing off your ear to their harsh and babbling tongues. Jerusalem, city of moon-white walls and sun-gold domes, exotic markets brimming with jewels and silk and sandalwood, and the measured music of a million mouths of prayer. The life of a soldier in Rome. The life of a soldier of Rome! Lucia, I know that gesture. When we were younger, it usually meant you were hatching a plan, and that usually meant trouble. Lucia, listen to me. No plans, no schemes. Please, I'm happy to be a Roman soldier. Forget the rest. Lucia! What if I served as princeps in your place? Lucia, are you mad? Serving is hard, muddy, bloody work. Men's work. But you told me that what you mostly do now is give commands. Yes, that's true, but... And we still look alike. Why put your arm on me and I'll look more of the part of Marius than you do? I won't hear, but I'm going to take a walk. Think of it, my darling brother. I could escape the dull life of a Roman maiden, travel to Juida, and spend every day in the presence of Solus, the man I adore. Imagine the clamor of battle, the sound of those marching feet, the sweet taste of victory. Via victories, woe to the vanquished. But how could I send a helpless girl to the Gallic garrison? Even an officer has to defend himself now and then. Remember when you were younger and you were often unable to find a boy in your pure size and strength and asked me to be your sparing partner? We're but children then. No matter. Here are the old wooden swords we used in those days. Come. You better try. Lucia, you are mad. To arms, Roman soldiers, to arms! Attack! You little brat! I'll teach you a lesson! That's more like it. Don't think I'll show mercy! I won't. You'd have to show mercy. Oh, Marius, my dear one, you are hurt. No, it's nothing. Oh, Marius, now you are angry with me. I'm sorry to have hurt you. What hurts me most is your
proved your point. There is a man in Rome who can command a legion. It has to be you.
So you'll let me go to your place?
I suppose Judea is a quiet enough place. Now and then there's some grumbling over taxes or temples, and a would-be prophet rises out of the rabble to incite a small rebellion. But no, nothing much comes of it. Jerusalem is a dull and desolate little town, destined to be forgotten in times to come. Nothing ever happens there. Within 2 years, I, as in you, could return to Rome and still be in one piece. I insist on one condition only. You must take Pernicus with you in case there's any trouble. He is to communicate with me immediately.
If he doesn't stab himself with his pen while he writes to you.
What about me? I don't plan to while away 2 years, time in spinning and cooking.
What if you were with your beloved Silvia Claricia?
That'd be a dream come true. But how could it come about?
Silvia has just begun building herself a new villa close to the Forum. With all the construction Emperor Mira has underway, it is dreadfully difficult for her to find skilled craftsmen. Pernicus knows of a Forum there. He can present you as a stonemason straight from the Providence. What Petrus, I mean. For the next year, you'll be able to look upon your beloved Silvia every day. And now and then, she may even look at you.
You little...
Help! Help! Oh, help! A Roman maiden in distress!
Oh, my masters have any way to greet me after such a long absence?
Forgive me, Pernicus. Gee, you your endless pranks.
Pernicus, you're hurt. Is it the same leg?
No, it is the other one. At least my pain is balanced now.
Only because I know Pernicus is there to protect you, do I allow you to go to Judea.
Judea? Lucia goes to Judea? And with me? A complication devoutly to be wished.
Lucia, why did you insist on teaching Pernicus to read?
I thought he was only looking at the pictures. We must all retire soon. But tomorrow, Pernicus, we have much to tell you.
Oh, ow, 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 ow.
1 year later, near the Mount of Olives, not far from Jerusalem.
Roman legionnaires? Attention!
Formation!
From the walls of Carthage city to the shores of Pompeii, we will conquer without pity till our foes are on their knees.
There are none more enterprising, none so quick to pick a fight. And we won't stop globalizing till we've shown might makes right.
We will loot and we will plunder. We will drive thousands from their homes.
Let the world weep, wail, and wonder.
We are the legionnaires of Rome. Legions, halt!
At ease, men.
Have you heard the news?
About Marius Tullius, you mean?
What is it? Solidus is promoting Marius again, giving you equal command over our legion.
I say that's good.
I'm not surprised. Since Marius joined us in Judea, he and Solidus have been inseparable. Solidus is a born organizer, but no one's as bold as Marius.
You're right. Solidus would have been slain in that skirmish last week had not Marius thrown himself in between the Solidus and the bandit he was fighting.
And Jove be thanked that Marius was only wounded in the hand.
And no one treats his men better than Marius Tullius. Remember when we were caught unawares in that sandstorm? Marius kept riding up and down the lines, making sure that not one soldier was lost, and keeping us all from losing hope.
Don't forget that long march through the mountains when our rations ran low. Marius wouldn't eat one more morsel or drink one more drop than the other soldiers. He said that...
Look smart, men! Here Marius and Solidus themselves dismounting right by our tents.
Maybe an inspection.
Claudius, here's your chance to make your request.
But suppose he says no.
He won't. He's a kind one.
Go ahead and ask.
Attention!
Hail Caesar!
Hail Caesar!
At ease, men. Men of the 10th Legion, I hereby announce in the name of Nero Caesar, Imperator, Pontifex to Jupiter, that
and from this day forth, the command of your army is shared by me, Solidus Vespasian, and Marius Tullius.
Yeah!
To celebrate the promotion of Marius Tullius, we will double tonight's ration of wine and meat.
Yeah!
Your new commander stands ready to hear any complaints that he may redress.
Hail Caesar, sir.
Hail Caesar!
Sir, your excellency, I would like to request your leave to return to Rome for 1 month.
You know the regulations, soldier. Only officers are granted leaves from the service in the provincia.
Yes, sir, I know, but begging your pardon, sir, but his wife has just grown very ill, and there's no one to help or care for her children, and...
Your wife? You left your wife in Rome?
Yes, sir.
That poor woman! Soldiers should be faster to not leave helpless, defenseless ladies back at home who have to fend for themselves. Oh, that... As I've said, the regulations do specify that only officers are granted leaves from the service. But, however, as the ceremony attendant on my promotion, I am so moved to take the exceptional measure of granting your request. I will have a junior officer draft a letter providing you with an escort to the port of Alexandria, and from thence you shall have passage on the first ship bound for Rome.
Yeah!
3 cheers for Marius Tullius. Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
But is this what you call a campsite of a Roman army? It looks as though it was hit by a sandstorm. Get those tents properly pitched, on the double. Are you Roman soldiers or barbarian waterboys? Let's see a campsite here that everyone would be proud of. On the double now, on the double.
That's telling them, my boy. There are times when I simply can't fathom you, Marius. You are either as tough as tempered steel or as soft and yielding as hammered gold. On the field, you seem to have the sinews of a lion, but when surrounded by the sick and wounded, you have the heart of a woman. And now you even made extra work for me. I had to write an explanation to the Senate concerning your request for a camp physician to look after the wounded. As far as Rome is concerned, only a soldier can fight is worth looking after.
Sorry to cause you such trouble, sir.
Don't call me sir anymore, my boy. We're co-commanders now, and equal in every way. No, you don't cause me more trouble than I would. As much as I admire the uniformity of every legion, of every battalion, of every soldier in the Roman army, it's refreshing to come across an officer as unique as you.
Truer words were never spoken.
And you know what I sometimes think? If Marius, the scion of the familiars, can be so kind and caring, even in the best of battle, what a paragon of womanhood his sister Lucia must be.
She makes me seem hard-hearted by comparison.
My boy, but you're a modest one. There are times when I've watched you in a pensive mood, looking at the sun setting over the Judean hills, or staring in awe at the myriad stars that shine over the Jordan River Valley. And it is so when your sister blend into one person. And I think to myself, a Roman soldier could do worse than to marry the sister of a manly Marius.
She's worthy in her own right, too.
I know it, my boy. I know it. It's not you I'd be marrying after all. But for all I know, since we left Rome, she may have become engaged to another.
Impossible.
You seem certain of that.
We are in constant communication.
So there is hope for me?
Perhaps.
Only perhaps.
She always had many senators.
But none who are Roman generals.
No, but there's usually a senator or two.
When we return from Rome, will you speak on my behalf?
I only need speak of the Solidus I know, and praise comes dripping from my lips. But Lucia is a fickle girl, and may delight in keeping you in suspense.
Marius, my boy, I am ready to wage a campaign for your sister that will put Caesar's conquest of Gaul to shame. I know little of rhetoric and eloquence, but I'll let her read my heart. Once I've softened up her vanguard resistance, I'll summon all the sweetness I can muster and lay siege to her love until she's certain.
Cave sis cum tu quam bellum. Never declare war on Cupid.
Not unless you have good allies, and now Marius talking to you is in my battle for Lucia's heart. Good night.
Oh, dear goddess Fortuna, my manly countenance must remain unmoved, but my woman's heart will nigh burst of joy. It will be best, however, for Lucia not to give way immediately to Solidus's loving assaults. For no man values well that which is won too easily. No, she shall skillfully resist, prolong the siege, and surrender only when Solidus has all but given up battle. I will have the Permicus make sure this message reaches my brother as soon as possible. Permicus! Permicus!
sluggard gone off to now?
Oh, my
Copernicus, you are hurt.
Oh, what has happened?
Who are you?
Were you with him when this happened? I had my sheep out to the pasture not far from here, Your Excellency. When I heard this man's groans, I found him lying next to a large rock. He directed me to help him back to you, his master.
But there is no wound. I see no mark. Nor is there blood on your head, Pernicus.
Shortly before noon, I ventured out of our tent to await your arrival. As I sat and read, the sun shone so hot on my aged head that I had to pour red wine onto that napkin. I then proceeded to wrap it around my head in careful spiral fashion, hoping to cool off. But then, growing weak with thirst, and having no more red wine to drink, I fainted.
Pernicus, you are impossible. Return to my tent and drink as much water as you wish. Then see to it that this letter is sent to Rome.
Thank you, my lady.